Okay, this is what's happening. I'm going to deal with a word today, just one word that I've had experience with. I've known of it. Everybody knows about it. It's the word black. Okay, the word black. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to give you my experience with the word black. Okay, I'm going to go back to when I was a child, back in the 50s and 60s. It's been a minute. And what happened back then, the word black was taboo, meaning that people of color were called colored people. He was a colored man, colored woman, colored people. You were colored. You didn't have a color. But the word black was shied away from. You didn't use the word black. And back then, if you wanted to get into a fight with somebody, call them black. If you call somebody black, you were fighting. And to make it even worse, you call them a black nigger. Oh man, then you really would be fighting and cutting and shooting damn there. And then if you were a dirty black nigger, that was at school's out. You'll be fighting from now until forever, because of the fact that that word, that terminology of the word black, was was taboo. You couldn't use it. You didn't use it. You dare not use it. Why? Because everything associated with the word black back then was of a negative context. You had Black Death, Black Plague, Black Sheep of the Family, black balls, all these negative terminologies for the word black, and you shied away from it and you cringed from it. See, but then the experience that I had with the word black, going back to grade school, was when the teacher would bring in, back then we had what was called a Victrola, which to you now is a record player or a turntable. But she would bring in a Victrola, and on the Victrola she would have a red or a yellow or a blue record, little spin record, and a book. And the book had pictures in it. And the name of the book was called Little Black Sambo. Oh, the people back then, we cringed. Us colored people back then would cringe. And his mother and father were there, and she was Black Mumbo, and he was Black Jumbo. So when you hear the word mumbo jumbo, where you get that mumbo jumbo from, you know what they're talking about. Okay, so what is happening is that the record player would go on and it would talk, and they had a little book, and she would turn the page. Each page went from, and little black Sambo this, and little black Sambo that, and oh, it was humiliating, and it played on our subconscious mind. And little white children there, they would laugh and oh, little black Sambo, and they would say that, and you were, oh man, it was horrible, horrible thing, horrible feeling that was had by people of color back then. Anything that was black, was negative, wasn't good. It was evil. And then another word that was taboo was African. Oh gosh, oh no, you ain't African. Everybody wasn't African back then. Everybody was, either you were Indian or you was everything, anything other than black or African. You had nothing to do with those things, those terminologies. That's how I grew up. That's what was taught. You get away from black, you get away from African, and if you call somebody a dirty African, you be fighting then too, because you had nothing to do with Africa. And then to make it worse, they would play Tarzan, Tarzan of the jungle. Tarzan was king of the jungle. Now, the things that we never really thought about or was even taught to think about with Tarzan was the fact that he was raised by a gorillas. Okay, put it plain. He was raised by he lived with the gorillas. Those were his people. He was raised by them. But then when you saw Tarzan as a grown man, he didn't act like the gorillas. He had on a little loincloth. Gorillas don't wear loincloth, so where'd that come from? Gorillas don't go, oh, they don't do that type of sound. Gorilla, he has short hair. Gorillas don't cut their hair. So how did he learn all this hair stuff and knew all this hair stuff? And he knew one end of the jungle to the other. And whenever he hollered, the natives would start running. And oh, Tarzan, they would be deathly afraid of the great white ape. And he ruled and everything. So that again put into the minds of people how fabulous, how strong, how powerful this one white man was in the jungles of what was called Africa. He was the ruler of Africa. And whenever the chief's son got sick or whenever something was wrong, Tarzan would come in and save the day. I'm saying all this to let you know that this is how things that we grew up with, that I grew up with. I'll put it that way. Okay? I grew up with those things. And so what happened after the word colored started to wane, they threw another word at us. Oh, now you're Negro, Negro, Negra, black, which was, according to some people, you had the word Negra and Omega, Negro, which was a dead black. That's what the Negro was. But we accepted the word being called Negro because that's what we were told. The society that ruled over said, okay, y'all are no longer colored, y'all are Negroes. And Negro was a word that was around for a long, long time. You were okay being called Negro. The word black, yeah, and colored was gone. So you were now Negroes. And being a Negro, it was okay. You could accept that because you weren't called black. And then in the early 70s or so, people of color started, it was a like a Renaissance type thing where people started to relate back to Africa, you see. And then they threw on the television movie Roots, all these different things that give people an identity, so to speak. So then all of a sudden it was okay, you could be called black. And to enforce that, the song by James Brown, may he rest in peace, was Say It Loud, I'm Black and I'm Proud. And that was it. Boy, that word black took off. Then you had Black Caesar, and you had all these black people, and everybody was black, 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 black. See, but on the other hand, just to give a comparison, you had white people. Now, what was white people? White people, but the word white was what? Pure. The word white was good. The word white was clean. Everything positive about the word white, but the word black was a bunch of negativity. And then you took it a little step further. You had white Jesus, you had white angels, you had white God, you had white disciples. Everybody was white, so therefore white was the thing. Okay, to be called white. But these people aren't white people. The only real white people, if you want to be white, are your albino. Okay, your albinos, look at them. They are the closest thing to white than these people who call themselves white. Okay, and the so-called white population is the minority on this planet. Because when the white man, we call him that, when he left his home in Europe, and every place he went, he found a person darker than himself everywhere that he went. So he realized that, oh shit, I'm not in the majority. So that's when the game plan started. Like I told you the other day, my other video about Christopher Columbus, son of a bitch got lost and thought he was in India and called the people they landed on the shores of what was they call now America. He called them Indians. Oh, y'all are Indians because I'm in India. Dumb son of a bitch didn't know where the hell he was. But anyway, another story for another day. So then the word black. And black came in, and black was the word, and black this and black that, because black is a strong word. Black is a powerful word. Black is, but it doesn't define a people. Now, if you look at me, I don't identify as a black man because I'm not black. Look at my shirt. This is black. Okay, that's black. This is black. Look at me. I'm not black. Okay, I'm brown skinned. I'm light brown skinned, but I don't identify with the word black. Okay, I refuse to use the word black to identify who I am by way of someone else's definition. Because whenever I fill out paperwork, it says race, and on it will say like this, and it will say black, and it will say other. And so what I do, I check other, and then when I put in other, I put the initials or the letters U.G.B. U.G.B. What does that mean? It means Universal Galactic Being. I'm a universal galactic being. And what I do is whenever I sign something, I will put AKA UGB. I'm also known as a universal galactic being. And what happens and what will happen over a period of time going on, that will become part of my name. So therefore, I can start signing things saying UGB. and because it's recognized, because it's on record. It's no different than somebody who is in Hollywood or a singer. They change their names. The names of these people that you think you know are not their names. Those are the stage names. And so they give them a stage name, and they, like for instance, Steve Harvey, that's not his name. Glenn Close is not her name. Different people, that's not their names. They just take on those names because of the fact that's because they're choosing to be different. And so therefore they can sign a check with that name on it because they are recognized and identified as such because they use that name and it's out in the open. It's like somebody who is a criminal and they're wanted, they'll have on the wanted poster John Brown alias this or alias that, those different names. They use those names. Those names are identified. You don't have to go to court to change the name. You don't have to make it legal in the sense of what they want you to do. It is legal when you do it that way. Okay, so that's what I put down there. I put down U.G.B. I'm a universal galactic being. I'm not black. So don't call me black. I'm not a black person. Okay, I don't identify with that by way of a color or by way of who or what I am. Okay, another thing too is that as things proceeded forward, we accept names that are given to us. You follow? Somebody says, "Oh, you all are black people." Okay, where does that come from? Who says that you are black people? Because they say, "Well, you're African." No, if you go back to ancient maps, you'll see where it says Africa. Before they got involved in it, it said Sudan or it said Kush. Those, look at the old ancient maps. That's the name that's typed across there. Sudan or Kush. Kush is also another name for Ethiopia. Okay, and Ethiopia is mentioned in the Bible, which means land of the people with burnt faces. Same as it describes the man you call Jesus in your book of Revelations. It said he had feet like brass that was burned in the fire. Take brass, which is a brown or a golden type color, and light some fire to it, it turns black. Okay, that's what they're talking about. But the thing is that if you continue to identify with the word black, you are identifying with something that they behind closed doors laugh at because they know the negativity of the word that they use it according to their dictionary. How black is defined with all those negative connotations and white as it's confined. So I don't call them white people. I'll say the Caucasian. That's what you are. You're Caucasian. You're European, you're of English or whatever, but I'm not going to call you a white man because you're not. And so I just want to get that out of the way because remember this here says this: my people will be destroyed for lack of knowledge. Okay, now that's why it says you could be in the world but not of the world. You don't want to be of this world because it says that you have to conform not to the ways of this world, but renew yourself, transform yourself by the renewing of your mind. So renew your mind and stop calling yourself something that somebody else told you to call yourself, because that's not what you are. You identify, like I said, identify as a universal galactic being. That's how I choose to identify myself. I'm not going to call myself, well, I'm a black man. Fuck that. I'm not going to let you put me in that corner and define me as such. All right, there's a little bit more on that I wanted to talk about, but I won't do it today. I have more stuff coming up that we'll be talking about. But I just want to get that out the way, and say that you're not black. You are what you choose to call yourself, not what somebody has chosen to call you. That's how it goes down. I don't want to hear it. Don't call me, oh, you're a black man. No, I'm not a black man. I'm not what you want me to be. I am who I choose to call myself, a universal galactic being. That's who I am. I know who I am. I know where I came from, and I identify with that. And that's what I go with. That's what I go with. Now, however you choose to identify yourself, that's fine. But that's me. So if someone says, hey, black man, I don't pay attention because that's not me. Okay? So just let that go. And next time we'll be talking about some other things. Or if it's something that you want for me to talk about or research, let me know. Send me a message. Also, if anything I said here today, if it means anything of value to you, or if you get something from it, please donate, contribute, show your love, show your appreciation. You can do it through my PayPal, jaes123 at yahoo.com, or my Cash App, $jaes124. I would greatly appreciate it. And like I said, if it means anything to you, fine. Show me that you appreciate it and that you like hearing this stuff, and I'll keep on doing more. Until next time, to all of you people out there, remember this: I am a universal galactic being. Peace.